This video I'm going to show you how to draw quadratic graphs. Now you'll notice if you've watched my straight line graphs video that we're going to use very similar techniques to that. But in this case, instead of getting straight lines out, quadratic graphs always come out with a nice U shape. Okay, so in my first example, I'm asked to complete the table of values for y equals x squared minus 5. Now we can tell this is a quadratic because this value here has a squared in it. Okay, so firstly, when x is minus 2, y is going to be minus 2 squared minus 5. Now I know that minus 2 squared is minus 2 times minus 2, which is going to equal 4. Not minus 4, but 4. And this is because minus 2 times minus 2 is a negative multiplied by another negative, which is a positive. So I've got 4 minus 5, that is minus 1. So next I'm going to work out when x is 1. So I've got 1 squared minus 5. 1 times 1 is 1, minus 5 is minus 4. And finally, I'm going to do 3 squared minus 5. 3 times 3 is 9, minus 5 is 4. So at this point, I'm just going to highlight a characteristic of this quadratic table here. Hopefully, you might notice that I've got a minus 4 here and a minus 4 here. I've also got a minus 1 over here and a minus 1 over here. And you can see that the values are repeating. In fact, quadratic graphs always have a line of symmetry. In this case, the line of symmetry is at 0, and all the values are going to be repeating either side of that line. So after I've completed the table, just like the straight line graphs, I'm going to plot my coordinates. So first off, I'm going to plot minus 2, minus 1. Then minus 1, minus 4. Then 0, minus 5. Then 1, minus 4. Then 2, minus 1. And then 3, 4. After I've plotted the coordinates, I'm going to join these up with a curved line. Now, if you're not very good at drawing a curved line, you can always just use a ruler to join these points up, and that will give you the marks as well. So finally, after I've drawn my curve, I'm going to label my graph y equals x squared minus 5. Okay, so the last question that's quite regular on the paper is that they might ask you to estimate a solution of an equation down here. Now, hopefully you've noticed that this equation looks very similar to the equation of the graph. And in fact, what they want you to do is use the graph to find these answers out. Now, hopefully you notice the only thing that's different here is this minus 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to plot y equals minus 2 as a line on our graph. And if you remember, y equals graphs are horizontal. So I'm going to do a horizontal line through minus 2. Now you'll also notice that my new line that I've just drawn crosses my curve. And the points where they cross, I'm just going to draw a line vertically upwards for both of those. And the values they cross the x-axis are the solutions to the equation. So over here I've got minus 1.7, and over here I've got 1.7 as well. So I end up with x equaling minus 1.7 or 1.7 as estimates. So this next example is a slightly harder formula, but we're going to use exactly the same technique as we did before. So starting off, we're going to fill in the missing values of our table. So first off, when x equals minus 2, we've got to do minus 2 squared plus 2 times minus 2, and then minus 3. So minus 2 squared is 4. 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. And then 4 minus 4 is 0. And minus another 3 is minus 3. Next, when x is minus 1, we're going to do minus 1 squared plus 2 times minus 1 minus 3. So minus 1 squared is 1, plus 2 times minus 1, which is minus 2. So 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Minus another 3 is minus 4. Now over here we have when x is 2, 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 3. So 2 squared is 4, plus 2 times 2, which is 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Minus 3 is 5. And finally, when x is 3, we have 3 squared plus 2 times 3 minus 3. And 3 squared is 9. 2 times 3 is 6. So 9 plus 6 is 15. Minus 3 is 12. Again, you'll notice that some of the values repeat. I have a minus 3 here and another minus 3 here. And if you extended this table, you would get even more repeated values. Okay, so now I'm ready to put on my coordinates. So first I'm going to do minus 2, minus 3. Then minus 1, minus 4. Then 0, minus 3. Then 1, 0. Then 2, 5. And finally 3, 12. So joining this up with a curve or with a ruler, depending on how confident you are with joining it up. And then labeling my graph with its equation, y equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. So again, I've got my equation question here. And again, you'll notice that this is very similar to this up here. The only difference is that I have this 6 at the end. So I'm going to start off by drawing y equals 6 in, which again is a horizontal line going through 6. Now you'll notice on my graph here, I've only got one crossing point. Okay, usually you'll have two, but in special circumstances you might only have one. So I'm drawing my line down from that. And my solution to my equation is 2.2. So x is 2.2 as an estimate. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you to answer questions on drawing quadratic graphs and then finding solutions of equations based on those graphs. Okay, this question does appear on the calculator and non-calculator, so get used to being able to do this both in your head and with a calculator. Try loads of exam questions and good luck!